Well, halito akana. Hello, friends. Chibachukma. Welcome to Red Hoot Talk. It is your hostess, Miss Jennifer Robin. So we got Mark Williams on deck, Choctaw filmmaker. But more than that, I super believe that we're totally related. So both of our ancestors come from Standing Pine on the Choctaw Res in Mississippi. Both of our dads were Baptist preachers. Mine isn't anymore. His pa still is. And both of us are in the indigenous media arts. So while we get scheduled here with Mark Williams getting on deck, oh, hello. We have surprise guests jumping in. So Mark Williams and I are going to figure out, due to my Choctaw ancestry book my aunt made. She's like an author, a writer. She's doing a bunch of like history and stuff. This is 20 something years old, but I want to see how related Mark Williams and I really are. So all things stickball. We have a long-standing tradition in many Southern tribes of stickball, and people like to say diminish a lot of indigenous cultures on how they battled, how they fought. I was taught in high school history that, well, the natives were already fighting, so we just came and did them a favor. And then I got expelled from high school for taking over history class, and I read Howard Zinn's People's History of the United States and told some truths and got in trouble. So there's just so many misconceptions. And then also, too, the homogenization of indigenous folk, right? And they all had headdresses, or they all were like they were in the Westerns, and this stuff is so not true. So I would like to welcome to the program, with or without a camera, Mark Williams. Are you there, brother man? Halito.
Halito, I'm here, but yeah, I'm just having some issues right now, but yeah, I'm here.
It's okay. I'm always having issues. Just kidding. So I have a picture of you in the background. So those YouTubers can at least see like part of that brown round face of yours. But I want to say I'm a huge fan. Let's take a deep breath. Exhale the technical difficulties and then just enjoy the time together. So Mark Williams, why don't you introduce, we're going to pretend nobody knows who you are. Okay. So why don't you introduce yourself to our new listeners?
Okay. So first, thanks for having me on. And I do apologize for the technical issues. But so I'm a Choctaw filmmaker from Oklahoma. I live in Shawnee, Oklahoma right now. And I am Oklahoma Choctaw and Mississippi Choctaw. I am actually enrolled with the Mississippi band. So I am a full-blood Choctaw. And I've been making films since 2006 was my very first short film. Never been to film school, so just kind of been learning as I go. And just started making short films and projects with my friends and family to the point where, just started getting a little bit better and learning my craft a little bit more to the point where 2016, I started Digital Feather Media, which is my production company right now, and started doing clientele work for different tribes, nations, and just overall clients, in general clients, really, and still producing my own stuff too. So, man, this is what, 15, 16 years I've been doing this, I guess. So yeah, that's kind of a little summary of what I've done as far as professional work. I do have an 8-year-old son, Dakota, who is Seminole, and we both live in Shawnee. And so that's how I kind of got here.
Well, I stumbled upon you, I want to say like 2014 or 15, because I don't even remember how so what, you had a friend, Queese, IMC.
Oh yeah, Queese, yeah.
Yeah, so Queese is a rapper, or spoken word. So I think he sent me his music, and then as I did the digital snoop, I came upon the Native American Paranormal Society. So I contacted you two. I had you on radio. You guys sent me EVPs Like we were totally doing the Halloween ghost hunter stuff. So I know that seems like ancient history to you, but I always have to laugh because that brought us together.
Yeah.
My,
Yeah. So
my
yeah,
favorite part.
Keith was part of the original team that I started with the Native American Paranormal Project, and that was something that we started in 2012. I think was our very first one. And like I said, I've never been to film school, so I was just doing different genres, different types of filmmaking, just to try to teach myself different ways of storytelling. And so I wanted to do a documentary. And just growing up, I've always been into paranormal stuff and just hearing and telling ghost stories. And so we wanted to do a paranormal documentary. And if you remember around that time, all these ghost hunting shows on cable was getting popular. So we went and kind of did our own. And it started off as let's go do this little documentary, and let's just have fun with it, and then and just see where it goes. And it kind of did just take off to the point where it started off as one project. And I think we ended up doing like 7 feature documentaries and then maybe about 12 or 13 short ones along the way. And so, but yeah, Keith was one of the original ones, and his sister and his brother was also on board, and then just a couple other filmmakers and friends that I kind of knew through just kind of around here.
So being into the ghost stories, were you creeped out by anything in all that, or were you kind of like, oh, we didn't get much?
We definitely got quite a bit. I think I always tell people that whenever we're actually filming and shooting this, I don't really get creeped out until after we kind of go through the footage. Because usually when we're actually on location, I'm in production mode. So I'm always wondering how much time we got. Are we getting the shots? I'm always thinking technical stuff. So I guess I don't really think about where I'm at until like after the fact, when I'm looking at the footage. I'm 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm looking at something, we capture something, then it creeps me out that, like, wow, I was there in that hallway when this happened. And then it kind of, you realize what just happened. But during the actual part of it, not so much as far as getting creeped out, just because, like I said, I'm just in total, I'm kind of locked in as far as production mode.
Yep, I can totally see you, just like spirits are flying around you and messing with your hair and like tapping on the shoulder, and you're just sitting there wrestling with cables and testing mics. I love it. So where is that stuff available?
So we don't have a website or anything with that one. Most of my stuff is going to be on social media sites. So if they would just go on Facebook, Native American Paranormal Project, that page is still active. We haven't been on, to be honest, we haven't been on it in I want to say a couple of years, probably, because that's when the last time we did a documentary. But if they scroll down, they can see links to one of my YouTube channels under Native Boy Productions. So they can go to the Facebook page, which will lead you to one of my YouTube links.
Okie dokie. So that's just fun, but it's been a long time since you've done that, and so much has blossomed. And I'll put a banner up for everybody for the Native Boy Productions. Mm-hmm. But so much has happened since then, and I don't know if we can just like go in chronological order, but I think I'm going to Tarantino it and start backwards. So you are hot off of the Mississippi Choctaw Fair, yeah, and the World Series of Stickball. So, Bochito, how was that?
You said the right words, hot. It was definitely hot down there. So yeah, I just got back, I want to say about a week and a half ago or so. It was a lot of fun as usual. For 2 weeks every year, I look forward to going down there in July. Not just, watching the stickball games or playing some games, but just being around that culture and back home. So it's always a kind of an adjustment when you get back here to Oklahoma, because when you're there, you just don't want to leave, and so it's always kind of hard to come back. But yeah, just got back and did worked on a couple of projects. I didn't really get to visit as much as I wanted to, and I was there for a couple of jobs, and so I was working every day and didn't get to kind of sit down and socialize and meet up with a lot of family like I wanted to. But hopefully, here pretty soon I can get back there.
But we all come from there. So if you're enrolled Oklahoma, enrolled Mississippi, or not enrolled as a Choctaw, we all come from there.
Yeah, it's home. It's home.
And it is hard to leave. So I want to get into stickball in a second, but I'm trying to find the Choctaw Fair Facebook. I just Google as we go. The strongman competition. What was that super feat of strength competition that came out of nowhere on my Facebook feed while I was trying to live vicariously through everybody?
They call it the Iron Warrior, and I think they've been doing it for about I want to say 7 or 8 years now. They've been doing it, and it basically is what people would call a strongman competition, but it's men and women. It's a test of strength, endurance. It's a 3-day event, and so you have some locals doing it. You have people coming up from all over the country doing it. It's a lot of fun, and one of the bigger attractions, I think, for the fair. And so one of the cool things is the local tribal police and firemen take part in it. And the firemen, they do it in full gear with their equipment. And that's over, I want 100 pounds just added to it. And they got the mask on. So it's a true test of endurance, and it's pretty impressive to see that they go through the whole thing.
That is, I don't know. I knew that we were tough, right, as Indigenous people, but dang.
Yeah.
I mean, I was tripping out. So what was your role in, now all of the World Series of Stickball competition was live on YouTube as we whittled our way down to a winner. Were you on the field filming?
Yeah, so every day I was down there filming something. This year, like I said, I was there for a couple of different jobs, and I did some work. Choctaw took a team down there which is the Chickasaw Nation over here in Oklahoma. They participated, and so I was doing some video work for them. And then besides them, just capturing different games. So I was there on the sidelines. Sometimes in the stands, just kind of walking around the whole arena, just trying to capture the spirit of the game. So for 2 weeks, the game lasts about 2 weeks. So I'm sorry, the tournament lasts about 2 weeks. So yeah, I was there the whole time.
That is amazing. Well, I kind of I'm seeing things, and I think you posted something that popped up in the news about like people are now paying attention to the origins, quote unquote, of lacrosse and stickball, and I think you have a part to play in that public interest. Thank you very much. But what is stickball? Are we just getting together to play sports for the heck of it?
You probably could say that now with the Choctaw people, but it's something that we can say that it's the oldest sport in America, and no one really knows when it started. We just know we've pretty much always been playing it. Mostly when it comes to the game of stickball that we kind of see, that you see on YouTube, or something similar to it, where mostly played with these Southeastern tribes. And so not just Choctaws, but some of the Muskogee tribes. And so they may play a little differently now today, but it was the same concept as far as they call it the little brother of war. So back then, instead of going to war and losing, half your warriors, half your village community, if there was a dispute, they would just play this game, and it was a game that they honored. And so whoever won that particular game, whatever they were disputing about, whoever won would get that, would win that dispute. So like they say, if they were fighting over access to a river or something, land. Whoever won that game would get that access, and so they would honor it. And so it was just kind of a different way, more civilized way, I guess, of battling. And so that's why they call it the Little Brother War. So it's I want to say the oldest game recorded as far as any kind of documentation was in the 1700s, when a missionary priest saw a Choctaw game being played, and put it down in his journal. So we know it goes as far as that, but it goes back even further than that. So they've always been playing it, and it was a way to settle disputes, but it's also a ceremonial game to some tribes, as well. But with Choctaws, that's kind of went away, so it's not so ceremonial anymore. It is a sport now. They do for tournament play, and so they still take it as serious though, especially down Mississippi. I mean, it's a big deal. They love the game. They're passionate about it. And they literally, it's so cool going back to Mississippi because you see kids who are learning to walk have sticks in their hands, and from that age, they're learning the game, they're playing the game, and the kids are just as passionate as their mom and dads are, and so they take it serious. It's a big deal, and it's a big part of who the Choctaw people are. And so even though they don't play to settle disputes now, and it's not so ceremonial as far as the Choctaw people goes, it's still a big part of who we are.
Well, and when you say settle disputes, it's like disputes, you mean like hunting territories, right? Or rights to things, or that's what you mean by dispute, right? It wasn't just every time somebody got mad at somebody, we gathered by the hundreds and went and fought.
Yeah, something that would affect the tribe, the community, and so there's records of games being played across villages. You know, they were fighting probably over land rights or hunting rights to a certain land, and there was a game that was miles long between two villages, and so now they play on a 100-yard field, basically a football field, but back then. It could be as long as a couple of miles between the poles where they would score. So, and now they monitor how many players are on the field. Back then, it could have been hundreds and hundreds of players on the field trying to settle this dispute. So, yeah, and that's what reason when you say dispute, that's what it was about, was something over some right, land, water, something that would affect the whole community or village.
Now, I'm not sure like who told me this, if it was you or just one of my other relatives. I was told, and I swear it was you, that if your man wasn't playing well on the field, you were able to grab a switch and hit him with it to get him to play better.
Yeah, so I did an interview back in 2017 with Curtis Billy, who was an elder for the Choctaw Nation, and he has since passed away, but he's a very knowledgeable man. And that was one of the things he always talked about, was they were known, Choctaw women were known as the first cheerleaders, because they would literally, when you say cheer, they would motivate their men to play better. They would get a switch and go onto the field and whip their man to play better. And I mean, again, because they're fighting for survival, in the sense that they want this land, or whatever their dispute is. They needed their men to play better. They needed to win. And so they motivated in the sense of they would get a switch or a stick and go out there and beat them. So, beat them in the sense that, get out there and play better. And so, yeah, there's accounts of that happening.
Now, I'm not advocating spousal abuse,
but
no. some people need to be motivated. And I'm telling you, like, since you told me that, because I've had you off and on, my radio programs for like a decade. So that has stuck with me, and the amount of pride that I have as a Choctaw woman to be able to not just pick a switch in those situations, but I said vacuum.
Yeah, we don't want to say to go do that, but there, like I said, yeah, there is accounts of that happening. Not
I
to say
love
it's
it.
happened every game, but it did happen. So there's, yeah,
Now,
there's,
Curtis Billy, I'm Billy. I'm Ben in Mississippi and I'm Billy in Oklahoma. So mine a Billy, my great Graham. So I love how these names we have tie us to so much history and also tie us to these places. So I it's and we'll do it a different time. I have all my family history. I was gonna see how cousined we are, you know.
yeah, that's
Um,
cool that you got that. That's cool.
yeah, my aunt. So my aunt Larian Ott, she's writing stories about our standing pine ancestors, like personal stories. And then you and I are going to get together and we're going to start a show called, I just want to call it The Pines, right? Like it's a drama series of of all of the sagas we went through. But no, my aunt's super into it, and it's been a huge anchor for me because I know who I am, and that makes life a lot easier in a lot of aspects.
Right, right.
So stickball, I feel like you're the go-to guy when it comes to indigenous sports. If anybody shows, my nephew is in high school and helps coach women's ladies volleyball. So I've been sending him your stuff because I want him to see, these realms of sports. So why focus on women's stickball and not just start with men like everybody else always does?
I actually did. So my 2017 film was about the men's stickball team.
Okay, I'm going back to it.
And can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so my recent ones has been about the women, but my very first documentary, as far as stickball goes, was uh, kind of focused on the Tuskahoma men's team. Um,
How you
so
have so many videos. I'm scrolling,
yeah,
trying to see it, but it is buried in your videos. So what's the name of it again?
Tushka Nowataya. I might have sent you a link
Yeah,
for the
you did.
trailer.
There's
So
just so
that's
many.
so
So
that
I'm
was the
gonna
very first one I did as far as stickball goes,
I love
and
it.
that was produced by the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma. And so that's kind of how I got involved into telling stickball stories, was with that film.
And then it just went from there.
It went from there. Growing up, I always knew about stickball, but it wasn't as popular whenever I was growing up as it is now. So I always knew about the game, kind of saw it every now and then when I would go to Tuskahoma at Labor Day Festival. But it wasn't until I did the documentary when I really found out or realized how important it is to our people. And so that was my introduction to it. And I started kind of picking it up and playing a little bit,
It's
and
hard.
just kind of fell in love with the game. And so I wanted to tell more stories.
It's not an easy game. It's violent. I'm a huge fan. Like, I broke from my family's tradition about 20 years ago because they had their teams and I just went hardcore boat Cheeto, haven't looked back. How long have women been playing the sport?
As far as World Series goes,
Yeah, in general, because I know that like as things evolve or change, sometimes keeping tradition means keeping women out of some things, and I totally respect and get that.
as far as Choctaw women goes, now I don't know exactly how long, as far as like years or give you a number, but again, there's always been accounts of women playing at some point. Not
Okay.
so much when they settle for disputes. That was usually men. But there are some documentation where after the men played, women would play after them. It probably didn't happen often, but the majority of the time it was men that would play this game back then. So as you get into more modern times, I guess. Well, let me kind of talk about the World Series. It was in the '90s is when women started to get into the tournament. But when they first started, it was more exhibition games.
Okay.
It was a tournament with just the men at that time for decades. But in the mid to late '90s, women exhibition games, and it was kind of just a one-time game. I think like North versus South. So it wasn't until the early 2000s is when women from the different communities actually held tournament play. So their involvement in the World Series is fairly new. But to go further back, there's always been some sort of stories where women did play. Choctaw women would play stickball, which is not always the case with other tribes. Muskogee tribes like Seminoles and Creeks, their women don't touch sticks, so they don't play stickball.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that difference, even though we kind of came from the same area as Southeastern tribes a long time ago. At some point, there was that separation where Choctaw women would play and the other ones wouldn't.
Well, I also heard, I should just stop saying heard because that's a rumor. I also learned that Choctaw women were able to sing war songs, and oftentimes in battle, like, hardcore battle, we were able to join our men. So I think that we come from like just hardy, hardcore, strong women, capable women.
Yeah, definitely. You see it. You can tell now when you watch on the field. I mean,
they're scary.
They hit. I mean, to be honest, sometimes I get more action footage out of the women games. Because they hit just as hard and they're intense. They are intense. So they don't hold anything back.
I'm too sensitive. I'm too sensitive to be and old to be on the field with any of them. But it is an entertaining spectacle. Like there's so many preconceptions about Native people and that we're, the noble passive savages and we were pretty much just cavemen. And when you watch these, it is, I imagine our ancestors, pre-contact going hard and cheering. And it is so much fun.
Definitely a lot of fun, and just as fun as much just to be part of it. Just to be down there in Mississippi. I always tell people you can watch it, on YouTube, but it's so much different. You got to be there in person just to experience it.
And as in most sports, there are, hardcore fans that are over enthusiastic and ruin it for everybody. That's me. Well, Mark Williams, I know I can't keep you forever today. What's your time looking like?
I probably got maybe about 10 minutes, and then I gotta pack up and get going.
I love that you're busy. So in these next 10 minutes, I'm scrolling through all of these things. So like, what do you want to use the next 10 minutes for? Do you want to talk about current projects, or where can we watch stuff? Or this is your platform, and I'm just pumped to share it with you.
Maybe just current ones. I do have one that's out in film festivals right now. Lady Red Warriors, which is about the Tuskahoma Ohio women's stickball team. And I'm really proud of that one because, like I mentioned, the other one was produced by the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma, the one I did about the men's team. This one I produced myself, mainly because Choctaw Nation didn't put one together. And so since 2018, I was at the World Series filming the women's team already anyway. And so I had years of game footage of the women's team. Just they were getting better and better every year. and they were losing at the time, but they were getting better and better. And then finally they won a game. Then finally they made it to the semifinals. Finally they made it to the championship game. And you see them getting better and better every year. And what was amazing was I had footage of those games and people just getting more excited about them and supporting them. And so sometime last year, um, it, Choctaw Nation at that point still hadn't made any kind of videos or documentaries about them. So I just made it myself, and so I put it out there. And I mean, with the blessings of Choctaw Nation still, because they helped me as far as getting interviews set up, and gave me access to the buildings to get interviews. So they still helped in that sense, and they were supporting in that way. So I do appreciate that. But as far as putting everything together and funding it was something I did, and we put it out there, and it's already won a couple of awards at different film festivals, and it's got some other showings coming up here at Fort Smith, I believe. It's going out west to Santa Fe during the Indian Market. It's going to be out there. So it's going all over the country, which was kind of my intention, was to kind of expose this game and let people know what's going on and how awesome these women are. And so that one is one I'm excited about. It's called Lady Red Warriors. It's on my Facebook page. I always post upcoming screenings. And then one that I've been working on since last November, another story from my Mississippi Choctaw side is this, to me, is this inspiring story about a girl that's playing Division I college basketball for Arkansas University. Her name is Carly Keats. And, Fayetteville, Arkansas isn't too far from where I am. So I reached out to her and told her I wanted to do this video about her story. And it wasn't until I went to Fayetteville and we sat down, we started shooting some stuff, that I found out some stuff about her that I was like, man, this really needs to be a longer documentary. Let's start telling your story, what it took for you to get here. I think it was going to inspire some people back home. It's going to inspire some kids from across different reservations. And so she was on board. And so we started shooting back in November of last year, and we're still shooting. We got some stuff coming up next week. And so been really thankful for that family to open their doors and tell her story. So there's no timeline for that one as far as when that's going to come out. It kind of depends on my schedule and her schedule. Her being a student athlete, she's very busy. So we've been trying to work around her schedule as well. But Carly Keats is the next documentary I got coming out. So pretty excited about that. I post that on my personal page and Digital Feather Media and my Instagram account. So anybody who's excited to see that, want to follow that, that's where you can kind of find some information when that might be coming out. So,
well, I'm irritated with you that you have all of this great stuff tied up in film festivals. Yeah. Where can we watch? Like, is there any streaming services, or what films and things do you have available out there that we can get a hold of?
Most of my current stuff, as far as the Indigenous sports one, which is the one I'm kind of really been pushing lately, is on my YouTube account, which is Digital Feather Media. Just scroll down. I mean, I have trailers, I have clips, I have, in most of the cases, the full film. The ones that aren't, you can't watch it as full entirety, are the ones that's tied up in film festivals right now. But the rest of it, you can watch it on my YouTube channel. There's a movie I did in 2016 called Shiloh, which is one of the more popular ones that I did about this Native female boxer. And that one's on Prime. So you can go to Amazon Prime and you can watch that there. And but the rest, just go to my YouTube channel, Digital Feather Media, and scroll down and just take the evening and take it all in. So most of them you can find it right there.
But you have, well, I had the luxury of seeing Red Warrior Women, and it's fun and it's intense. But then your one on Standing Pine is a more extended version. So really, you could spend good over an hour watching and learning. But and I hate that you have to go, so I'm gonna have to wrestle you up again soon. Because there's so many aspects. You know, we talk about weapons. You got a thing on knives, but we're just the passive little, you know, natives that didn't cause any harm. But we are and have been an intelligent people. We make things, we settled things, we had courts, we had laws, I mean, when you get to the core and the more we learn about us, the more we shatter every stereotype that exists. And I love that you capture it and share it with us. It's a big deal.
I appreciate that. That's exactly kind of why I do this. Is that there are stereotypes out there, unfortunately, but you know, you have to get beyond that and see there's some heartfelt, inspiring stories, you know, coming out from our communities, and so that's what I've been kind of focusing on. The ones that inspire me, I'm hoping it's going to inspire others. So that's why I do these.
Well, Indigenous storytelling is difficult sometimes because there's so many layers to it. There's pre-contact, there's post-contact, there's very few people are 100% anything anymore. And so to find these veins of stories and just focus and hone in, I mean, you have a lot in one little short film from the history to where we are now. And I just dig it. I'm a huge fan.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Well, I respect your busy schedule, but the more I talk to you, the more questions come to mind, and I just have to let that go. But we'll get you on here again. We'll get you on Resilience Radio again. And then how can the community help, like, see your visions come to life? You mentioned documentaries take forever and they're expensive. So how can people help give you what you need?
Really, I mean, I do a lot of my promotional stuff through social media. So, I mean, just sharing my work, talking about tag people in it. I think is the quickest way to get these stories out there, and it's helped out a lot. I mean, in the past few years, I've had different nations reach out to me because I got tagged in something, and I'm able to I'm blessed to go travel all over the country and tell other tribe stories because someone said, "Oh, I saw you on Facebook or Instagram or something, and would you be interested in coming over here and telling this story?" And so just sharing the content, tagging Digital Feather Media, that really does a whole lot more than you think. And so it lets other people know that there's a storyteller out there who's trying to get this content out there. So that is one thing I ask is just, share the content.
And then what's the best way for people to contact you? Is that through social media?
Yeah, so I have basically one email that I kind of take everything in, and it's digitalfeathermedia@gmail.com. And a lot of them jump in on the Facebook inbox. They'll message me there. I will see those, but I don't respond as often or as I like to. But the email will probably be the quickest way. Digitalfeathermedia@gmail.com. If you got some stories from your tribe, from community, hit me up. Let's see if we can get it out there.
Yay. Well, that excites me. So I'm trying to do a banner real quick. But then I can't do things when people look at me. I can't spell. I can't type. I can't function. Digital Feather Media, add banner. So let's share this real quick. Is that correct?
Digital Feather Media. That's it. That's me.
And we're going to go back to that's where the hodgepodge of your stuff is. Yeah. Digital Feather Media on YouTube.
Yeah, and those two.
Some of your past works we will find on Native Boy Productions.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Williams, you are a treasure. Yukoke for spending time with us, but I am not done with you.
Yeah, I do apologize. Like I said, I am on the time restraint today,
I got
and
you on.
next time we'll have the laptop working to where you can see my face.
No, like hopefully you feel so bad about all of this that we get you on again for like 6 hours straight.
We'll see. We'll see.
All right, well, kiss that boy, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Thanks for having me.
All right, buddy, bye. So let me get rid of some banners. So kind of in anticipation of Mark Williams having a time crunch, I understand people have to work and make money. So because of that, and not wanting to do like a 2-hour program last month and then this month have it under an hour, I have Carly Kohler on deck. She is a California native, and she's a co-writer of an MMIW film, Gift of Fear, which you can watch now on the Amazons, right? So you got a whole bunch of native things you can do this weekend. So I'm play a promo right quick, and then I'm going to get our Miss Carly Kohler on. Does that work for y'all? I sure hope it does. All right, we'll be back. Here's some t-shirts.
Join the Everything Back movement and purchase a Cultural Sovereignty Protector shirt today. A Cultural Sovereignty Protector is an advocate who is working to create a world where diverse Native cultures and values are lived, protected, and respected. Cultural sovereignty means having control over those things that make us who we are as Native peoples. Everything Back is our movement to return those things that make us who we are so that we can heal. Purchasing one of our Native-designed limited edition shirts demonstrates your commitment to human rights and equality. Visit Indian-affairs.org to check out all of the colors and styles in stock today.
Everything back.
Okay, everything back. So there's a lot going on with the Association of American Indian Affairs. So where's our little banner for that? Well, real quick, I feel this is important stuff to show, right? Support cultural sovereignty. It's good stuff. So the t-shirt, so that I'm just happy to be here, so I'm going to over promote, but we're going to put that aside. Carly Kohler, welcome to the program. This girl is not only my friend, but she is just a brilliant individual. Carly, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me, Miss Jeff.
Well,
I'm happy to be here.
I always think of y'all and support y'all, and what you're doing is important. So this is a whole new demographic. I've had you and your family on Resilience Radio for over a decade in our Northern California mountain community. But this is national, baby. This isn't your community hippie radio. So introduce yourself to like all of our new friends.
Yes, thanks. So I'm Carly Kohler. I'm the co-writer of Gift of Fear. I'm Hupa, Yurok, and Karuk, and I wrote it with my father, Jack Kohler. I wrote the feature film Gift of Fear.
So feature film Gift of Fear, as of July 9th, it's available to watch on a bazillion platforms, but you co-wrote this. You wrote a script.
Yeah, I wrote a script.
Well, that's a lot of work. So, I mean, you seem kind of nonchalant about, I wrote like 100 pages of dialogue and scene imagery.
It was kind of a very cool experience because it just felt right, is the best way I can describe it. I sat down with my dad. We had a lot of downtime to kill because our flight had been canceled home. And we just were like, okay, we're going to crank this out. And we wrote a majority of Gift of Fear at that time. It was in Boise, Idaho. But I think I was able to write it because of my experience being a social worker. So it was easy to draw from those experiences. And I really wanted to bring to light the important message of missing and murdered Indigenous women.
So your pa, Jack Kohler, is no stranger to media. He is the owner, the founder of On Native Ground, which has been tied into Indigenous Northern California national issues, well, for as long as I can remember.
Yes. Yes. He has a lot of experience being a filmmaker. He started in 2008. So that also really helps because he knows what a script needs. He could give me feedback. And he also has made lots of feature films and documentaries. So he just had a lot of experience already.
But still, I don't care like how much experience my dad has or how tied into I am at my work. Writing a script is a big deal, and you're still just like, yeah, whatever. I did it at a layover in like Idaho.
Well, I just think we were really inspired too, because we had just met the day before, we had met Kohler Tower Thompson, who's just an inspiring, amazing human being. She is an MMA fighter and wrestler, and she brings a lot to light about the MMIW movement, as well as she created a document that asks police officers to not hold on to the 72-hour hold time. So when someone's missing, the police often reply, "Oh, we have to wait 72 hours before we can start looking for your missing loved one." And so this document just helps prove that the person they're looking for has people that are like, has a reliable job or has like a steady routine, so that it is actually weird for them to be missing and they can't be written off as a runaway or, you know, be thrown under the bus that way.
Okay. And I'm getting triggered. Like I'm getting a little like hot and sweaty about this. What? And you and I have talked many a times, and I'm still mad about it. Why do BIPOC people have to over justify that their family members are worthy of being looked for? Why do I have to convince them that my brother has a job, he's got a degree, he pays his car insurance on time, and folds his laundry immediately after he does it? Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, it feels like not just the fear of somebody missing, but now we have to prepare a script to justify looking.
Yeah, it really makes no sense. If someone's missing, they should be looked for no matter their race. But unfortunately, we do live in a society where we know there's lots of problems, especially in police departments and how they've treated Native people and people of color over the years. So it's a harsh reality that
But
Native
it's
people
not
face.
just the BIPOC, it's the LGBTQ as well. Like, for some reason, if you're not hetero or not white, you're automatically assumed to be a degenerate, a runaway, a drug addict. It's just so bizarre to me.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Also, people with mental health issues, like, why, you would think that someone with a mental health issue clearly needs a therapist, not a police officer, to support them.
So your work in the social work realm, being a social worker, your script had a lot embodied in one script. You dealt with missing, you dealt with sexuality, you dealt with so many things, and even kind of shedding light into the system that a lot of kids get swept up in. So tell us a little bit about the 7-layer dip, which is Gift of Fear.
Yes, I would love to go into that because, obviously that's very dear to my heart. Social work, working with foster youth, working with families who need support. That's what I love to do. So writing Gift of Fear was really an opportunity for me to not only bring to light missing and murdered Indigenous women, but to also focus on how a lot of foster youth, including Native foster youth, are targeted because of their vulnerable position. So they don't have a caregiver who's looking out for them. They're in and out of the system. They're in different group homes. They're running away. They're an easy target for a sex trafficker. And a lot of our missing women, Indigenous, are taken into the human trafficking ring. So I wanted to shed some light on that because I had worked with so many youth who had been in and out of sex trafficking, commercially sexually exploited children. I had worked with so many of them. And so I was just like, I really need to shed some light on this, because this is an ongoing issue that's happening right now in every city. And I thought that this would be a good way to shed a little more light on that.
But people don't seem to believe us. Many times, and I'm not saying this is everybody, but many times women are viewed as hysterical or exaggerating or the angry ethnic woman type of situation. So why are we so dismissed in our continued cry for help? Is that too philosophical that I just put like a whole bunch on you?
No, it's really disappointing that that's how people view, like, or often you'll even hear today people make comments about how someone's dressed has a lot to do with how they're treated. Or like I've met and interviewed people who've talked about situations where they're like, well, the officer said it was because how I was dressed. That's why I was abused by this individual. And that is horrible. Like, there should never be an association with what the victim has done. It's like justifiable for how they were treated. It doesn't make any sense. And what you're saying is true. There's these stereotypes that we've had for years, and they're still there. And they need to be dismantled. Absolutely.
How are we able to dismantle? Oh no, honey, you just cut out. So keep going, baby.
Oh, no worries. Well, going along with what you just mentioned, I think it has a lot to do with, we need to make sure that to make media that's real, we need to make stories and get them out there that are real, that show people as they are today, and not a stereotype, but real people living their lives. And we need to make it normal for that to be the norm. So I think a lot of shows now are actually breaking out of these stereotypes, and it's awesome to see. So I think we just need to keep plowing ahead with the real media.
That's huge. And in your realm of social work, you've seen the reality. This isn't, you know, what you put into the Gift of Fear script isn't fantasy. It isn't, you see what I'm saying? There's so much root in the reality of what we're dealing with in that script.
Yeah, that was kind of the fun part of it, is we really wanted to bring to life the characters and really make it as realistic as possible, because I've definitely watched shows before where I'm like, if that child's a foster youth, they're not acting like a foster youth in this show. And so I definitely wanted to, while making Gift of Fear, to present foster youth in the way that they should be presented, which is in a realistic way, not a stereotypical way. And also we wanted to break out of some other norms. Like, the main lead, she has a girlfriend, so she's gay, and that's totally fine and normal. And it's not a huge part of the movie. It's just in passing, and it's part of it, but it's not the focus. And we like to make writing the script that way, because that's how the world should be. It shouldn't be a big deal that someone's gay. It should just be normal. So I think that was fun when we were writing the script. That was a fun aspect that we were able to weave in there.
Right. And even if somebody is gay, they're still worthy of being looked for.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, and that's just a lot of the irritation of it. And in your realm, we talk about MMIW. We're not alone in this. Human trafficking and the sex trade and these terrible things are realities for many people, not just in our community, you know.
Yes, they affect all people from all different countries and continents. And it's been happening since the arrival of Europeans, obviously. So a lot of people know, Pocahontas is probably the first documented missing and murdered Indigenous woman. So yeah,
But
it's
the
been going on for
attitude,
years.
the colonized attitude towards women came over in such, you know what I'm saying? Like the perspective that the colonizers had towards their women as property, as this, as less than, or so many things came with them. And so being
The
of
patriarchy,
matriarchal people, we were a matriarchal society where women had respect and capable, you know, were told they're capable of doing things. I don't know, it seems like a weird double whammy of not only are we being invaded, but now who I am is less than or diminished.
Yeah, definitely. And I think colonizers also viewed, you know, all people of color as less than, comparable to animals. So yes, there was many issues with how the colonizers took over
But when
America.
they start acting like this, it makes me kind of want to act like an animal. You know, that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. So I put on the banner here all the ways that you can stream and watch Gift of Fear. Now, in the film, I don't want to spoiler, there is a, like, what is it? A martial arts dojo. Is it jujitsu? Karate?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Jiu-jitsu.
But that's not native.
It's not. And we really thought that if we were going to have this native character who is going to leave her gang, there had to be some sport that enticed her enough to keep her, to replace the home-like quality that gangs can offer youth who don't have any family. And so we had to have a sport that was an all-encompassing sport, and jiu-jitsu is a good option for us. Also, our producers, Ellen Lon Bear, they're both, they have run a dojo, they're martial art experts. And so we were like, okay, this will be a really good fit for this film because they can teach, you know, they can make sure that we can use some of their students in the film, and they can teach our Native youth that came from the RISE program. We had about 45 Native youth that came from the RISE program, and they were all taught a certain level of jiu-jitsu for the film. So it was a good fit for our script, but we had to find something that could replace the gang.
Yeah, like to create that sense of belonging and community. Well, I wasn't saying like you have to only do, but it also modernized it and made it real, because I think 90% of American kids have all took one karate or taekwondo or jujitsu class in their life. It's just part of, like, you know what I mean? Being a kid in America.
Yeah, it is nowadays. It's kind of cool.
So
Good that people are learning self-defense.
I tried to take karate when I was 12 years old, and this awesome little Asian guy was like, hit me, punch me, you know, like, just, you know, get it. And I couldn't do it. When I'm angry, I can kick and punch all I want. And I just started crying. He's like, why are you crying? I said, because I like you. I don't want to punch you or kick you. So I didn't, because that's too sensitive. I didn't do well in martial arts. I can't, you know. But if my brother was a teacher, I could.
Chipper.
I know I hide behind all these tattoos, but I'm sensitive. But when you deserve it, you deserve it. So how long I know that we joke about, oh, you wrote a script during layover in Idaho, but how long has this vision been a vision?
Yeah, so the journey of writing Gift of Fear really started when we went to a MMIW march and we wanted to film it. And then while we were at the MMIW march, we were like, hey, let's see if any of these families want to be interviewed. And so we asked some of the families, like, would you be open to sharing your story with us? It's okay if you don't want to, but we'd really like to try to pull some stories together for a future documentary. And as we were working on that, it was very overwhelming. There were lots of very intense stories, but the families were very gracious in coming forward and sharing such a vulnerable side of themselves with us and sharing that grief. And we're still actually working on that documentary. We have a lot more MMIW marches we want to film, but from that experience of working on that documentary, we were like, we do want to do this, but we feel like this project that we have in our heads we want to reach a wider audience, because we knew if we made an MMIW documentary, it would reach a lot of people who like to watch documentaries, and it would reach a lot of Native people who know about MMIW. But we wanted to reach an audience that doesn't know, that isn't aware. And we thought, what better way to do that than through an action drama feature film? Because then we can draw in an action crowd and put in a very important message as well.
Well, it
so
does
that's kind of where the journey led us.
Yeah, it does reach somewhat somewhere else. Like I talked to you and your pa before. I've done film things, and being on PBS, I'm proud, but when I was on CBS and ABC, that's where I felt I could be more effective, because and this isn't just bashing KVMR, NPR, PBS, there's people that are already tied into who we are and what our struggles are, right? So in a sense, it's preaching to the choir, even though this information needs to get out. But I feel that y'all are more effective, available on all these streaming platforms below, because you're turning on light switches to people who wouldn't normally care, right? So if you like motorcycles, you'll like this movie, not just because you care about indigenous stuff. If you want to see 0.5 seconds of me going pew 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 by a Jeep, you got it, right? But the point is, you're in a place now to where more people are going to be moved and affected by your work.
Yes, and hopefully that they'll want to know more information and be more on the lookout now, and that maybe they'll share more information with people in their circles who may not also know about missing and murdered Indigenous women. So we're just hoping to raise awareness. That was the purpose of writing Gift of Fear. So that's why we made it. But it started with talking to all of these families, and it started with them taking that first step and sharing their grief with us, and it led us on this journey. And it also, when we met Kohler Shippentauer Thompson, she was a very inspirational person, and that also led us to writing the script later.
Well, I had you on a few weeks ago on Resilience Radio, because it was for the pending You Can Watch This Everywhere Now. What has the feedback been? Because I've been telling everybody to watch it, and sending links, and went to the theatrical theater premiere. So, what has the feedback been?
Everyone's been giving us really positive praise. We're really lucky. A lot of people have been very kind and sharing how much they liked it, how much it inspired them. My favorite reaction was probably from a lot of my former foster youth, who they texted me or sent me pictures of them watching the film, or saying I wonder why you wrote it like this, Carly. Giving me some, or I wonder why this happened. Just really cute, reminding me of the fun times I've had with them, chasing them around at 2 a.m. But they were just adorable, sweet kids who sent me so that was the most meaningful for me, that they were really touched by the film. But there's been so many people who've reached out and they've really liked it. And some people who are like, when's the second one? And we're like, what? The second one? I don't know if we were thinking about a second one, but maybe now we are. So a lot of people asking about a sequel. But yeah, it was really, really nice to have such a welcoming reaction from all our friends and family.
But to have your foster kids comment in such a sweet and snarky little way, to me, shows how the heart and soul of your script was intact, right? Because those kids are going to be the ones that tell you, this is stupid, you shouldn't have written it like that, right?
Oh, so, yeah. They will not hold back.
right? So to have their approval just kind of shows really how centered and aligned you were with all this. And I thought we already did. I thought you guys were working on the sequel where it's just me with the knife beating up a bunch of, traffickers. We're not doing that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I
The
just
Jipper
wanted
Panther.
fangs.
I forgot about that.
It's vengeance for all. But no, it really is.
Yeah.
And to see what I liked about the film too is like, well, we're kind of a Northern Cali clique crew, right? Like we kind of run with the same people that are in our area, and we rely on them for things, or we see them at powwows or big times or sometimes ceremonies. So I loved, just even though I didn't see them when they were being filmed, but just seeing so many people I love on the screen, and then getting to know a lot of the people y'all brought in was just, I don't know, it was Disneyland for me. It was way too much fun for that long of a day.
It was so fun. It was really cool to watch how everyone worked together. And we were just really blessed that so many amazing actors who didn't have to, help out with our low budget film, like stepped up and believed in the message and really gave their whole heart for the film, like Michael Horse and our leads, Justin Johnson Cortez, Isa Antonetti, Laura Vallejo. They were so present while filming, and we're just so blessed that they really came forward and wanted to be a part of this.
It's huge. Well, your paw's work has always made the effort to try to bring us together, and your sister Kohler, musician, been promoting her forever. I didn't know you sang, so I sneak in little blurps of you from the, my mind is blanking. What was the rock opera?
Something inside is broken.
Something. So that's another thing. Something inside is broken. Are we able to? That's a whole nother 2-hour conversation on that. Something inside is broken. Where can we watch? It is a musical / rock opera about California history with Sutter and the local indigenous people. So can we see that now, or is that just tucked away into our memories?
Yes, you can see it on PBS right now.
Like anytime,
I believe around an hour.
Now is that an anytime streaming thing, or do we have, because you did a post before on look up your local broadcast times? Is it, so do you see what I'm saying? Like, is it a thing we have to schedule, or is it a thing I can eat a sandwich and watch right now?
I thought you could look it up anytime and watch it, but I can double check if you want.
No,
but when I go on PBIS to check if it's there, it's usually there.
Okay, so we're just gonna.
But yeah, there might be some.
Now that goes back, over a decade. Like that started as a language program, right, with Alan Wallace, and then somehow got in the hands of Mignon, Helly, and Goodshield, and then somehow ended up with your paw, and then somehow became a play musical, and then somehow became a film, and then somehow became even more of a film, and then somehow became on PBS.
Yes. Yes. My dad teamed up with Alan Wallace, and my dad wrote the whole, script for Something Inside is Broken. And then he actually wrote the songs for Something Inside is Broken. And Alan Wallace transcribed all the native parts and made them in Nishanan, because it's the story of the Nishanan people when Sutter first came. And so it was amazing. Their teamwork created a musical. And then he brought on Simone Wilson, who is a composer, and he added all the beautiful harmonies in all of the songs. So it really came together. It's a very fun musical. I love the satirical parts that are in there, the little satire here and there. So it's a fun show.
You sing. Your beautiful voice is on there. Your paw sings. Like, it is so terribly annoying how incredible your family is. It's annoying how in love your parents are. it's annoying how beautiful your baby is. Like it, because if you're lucky in a family, you get one, maybe two super talented people, but you guys just have a whole gaggle of them.
Oh, thanks, Miss Jeff.
Still trying to weasel my way into your family, but I also like, I don't know if I weasel in or do I straight up audition.
You're already part of our family.
Whatever. I have the
We won't let
address.
you
I'll
go.
just show up. I'll just show up when I show up. I love it.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
because we can't do it, there's just you and Mark Williams back to back is just blowing my mind. But what I love about this, I've been in broadcasting about 13 years, and these conversations weren't happening when I first started. This plethora of Amazon, Google Play, the plethora of PB, we weren't having conversations on what to watch. We were having conversations on how there's nothing to watch. So the fact that like y'all are giving us ways to spend time and engage our indigeneity on modern platforms is, I'm getting goosebumps. It's such a big deal. It's a gift.
It is. There's been so much progress, and it's amazing. I just hope it keeps going.
Well, it will, because there's women like you and I who are not going to let people slack or forget or give up or get lazy. And like we learned from Mark Williams, if our partner isn't playing stickball well, we get to hit them with the switch to motivate them to do better. And I will gladly pick a switch for you, mama, and let her keep jacking.
I loved hearing about that. That was hilarious.
Oh, there's so much more. And he messed me up when he taught me that like a decade ago, because ever since then, it's like, I get to beat my husband, no big deal. If it's out of love, but no, we joke, but there, and again, you being Northern California tribe, everybody was so different. Everybody's histories are different. The fact that the Kohler clan and the Northern California blood that you carry, there wasn't an attempt at reservation systems. There wasn't an attempt at 5 civilized tribes or Indian removal acts. By the time America hit here and saw the water, saw the trees, saw the gold, it was paid genocide. So the fact that you are here, your family's here, and y'all are able to carry these things forward, it's a bleeping miracle to me.
I hear you. I feel it. I'm very blessed, and I reach out to my ancestors all the time. I hope they're proud of me.
Oh, they are. They're super pumped. But they're saying, I can't be too crazy of the ant. So I'll work on toning that down.
Yeah, good luck.
Try to be good. But on native ground is the best way to kind of connect to the work that you and your dad are doing.
Yes. On Native Ground is my dad's film company, and he's I think it began when he started River of Renewal in 2008, his first documentary.
Was that about the Bear River?
That's about the Klamath and Trinity River, and
Okay.
it was about all the salmon dying.
Yeah. Okay.
And so he was raising awareness about why the dams need to be brought down. But it was a very interesting experience for him, because up until that point, he didn't grow up on his reservation, so he really got to meet a lot of his relatives and spend lots of time with them. So that was really fun for him. And then also, he spent a lot of time interviewing a lot of farmers. So it's a cool documentary, because you get to hear all the sides of the story. Like, you get to hear different people's perspectives and how they don't know about a lot of different things. So it was really enlightening, is how I would
you and
describe
we are here now. We are here now today in this modern time. We carry European bloodlines. We carry indigenous bloodlines. We have immigrant history. We have indigenous. There's so much that we carry. So when people they get scared when indigenous issues because they think we're trying to stop progress or move everybody backwards. And we're not. We're trying to say, we are here right now. Here's the issues. How can we consolidate all of this knowledge and move forward better?
Yeah. And also it's preparing people to live a more diverse life, a more well-rounded and open-minded life. Because if you go through your life never knowing about what actually happened to Native people, you're going to be like really closed off, and you're going to be standoffish when people are like, oh, what happened to Native people is horrible. You'll be like, oh, come on, it was a long time ago, because you're not going to realize how recent it was, and you're not going to really know what happened or how terrible it was. It wasn't a bunch of disease blankets or just disease in general that killed them, that killed us. It was, your ancestors were murderers. Sorry, not, that's just the truth though. So like, yeah, I think that having that open conversation, it just helps prepare people to be more well-rounded, more open-minded, more, diverse, and just interested in other cultures.
But every culture, I don't have a conflict in me on how Celtic or how Choctaw I am. I am both. I'm a warrior woman on every side of my of my being, right? I'm not,
Yeah.
I don't have to discredit or dismiss part of myself to honor the other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you're at peace with who you are. Like you know your roots, you know where you came from, and there's no internal guilt or yeah. And I think that comes from not telling the truth, right? Like if everyone's really honest and just open about what really happened, then you don't have to carry around this guilt, this unconscious, like this knowledge that maybe there's more to it that you just don't really want to look at. But if everyone's just upfront about it, then you can come to terms with it and move on. So I'm definitely pro just be direct. I'm always supportive of just come out and say it.
It's so much easier that way. It really just is. And there's a nice way to come out and say things. I'll acknowledge that, but you don't have to lie. You don't have to tiptoe. There's such a freedom in being yourself and just respecting other people. I don't know. I like the idea of America is a melting pot. I'd like to think that at some point we can honor and respect all the places, all the roots that we have to be here together. We'll see if we get there, because honestly, the way this political climate is, I'm about to make you the ambassador for change. Like, you guys, she gets it. We can get everybody to just listen. She gets it. And you're good with working with children, so you can talk to them like they're children and fix it.
You're so funny.
And fix it for everybody. So I have, again, Gift of Fear is only been out a few weeks on all these streaming platforms. You see the Amazon, the YouTube, the Google, you can find it all. On Native Ground is, I think, the links, all the information to everything you guys want to do. That's Kohler Clan, California Kohler Clan is what I call y'all, is on nativeground.org. And I think this afternoon, evening, I'm going to enjoy Something Inside is Broken on PBS.
Yeah.
And there's so much more. You are just you're a staple on whatever I do, whatever platform or program it is, because I'm just so proud to call you my friend. It's just been amazing watching the dedication that you and your family have had to Northern California indigenous culture and history and storytelling. And I just, I'm teared up. I just love you guys to pieces.
Oh, we love you. And thank you so much. You're such a huge supporter. And I love our hilarious conversations. They definitely make everything feel better. And I'm like, yay, I got to talk to Miss Jiff. So we really appreciate you and we love you. And you do so much for Native people. You talk, you make awareness, you share it with everyone. So thank you.
Well, I mean, I do my part, but me just showing up and blabbing my mouth is so much easier than writing a script and spell checking and all the intricate, detailed, time-oriented things that are involved in a full-length feature film. I mean, y'all really pulled together as a family and as a group and did it. And I know I want to have a parade at some point just for the California Kohler clan. But on native ground, all the things. I mean, your dad's done, there's PSAs, there's music, there's just so much. And I can't wait to see how all this evolves and what else you're going to be bringing to the table.
Oh, thank you, Miss Jeff. We're really honored to be here with you, and yes, I just feel blessed to have you as my friend.
This is getting all mushy and gushy. I love you. No, I love you. No, you hang up. No, you hang up. Okay. So kiss that beautiful family for me. This is available on all streaming platforms for podcasts tomorrow. And oh yeah, let's plug your Pop's new MMIW podcast. Floodlights, headlights.
Oh yes, Floodlights.
Beamlights.
It's on its 3rd episode. Floodlights.
Say it again.
Floodlights.
Okay. I'm gonna show the thing. Floodlights, right?
Yes, and it's on Spotify, but it's really interesting, and it's on its 3rd episode. But it's also about MMIW, of course,
okay.
And sharing stories of missing women. Each episode is a different missing woman or missing person.
That's why I can't talk about it. You said we laugh and it's fun and funny. The MMIW stuff weighs on my heart so heavy, and it's so not funny, and it's so not joke and pokeable that I don't avoid it. I just don't know how to approach it without crying for a whole 90 minutes straight.
Yeah, no, I hear you, especially after hearing so many stories from Native people who've lost someone, and our own community, we've lost people, our cousins. So yeah, it's real, and it's just so frustrating, especially when you hear oh yeah, the FBI didn't come for 3 years. They didn't come check out what was going on until 3 years later. And obviously by then there was no evidence to be found. So it makes your blood boil. It makes you so upset, and it should, because that's not okay.
It's not. Well, keep me posted. And then I'm assuming on native ground, again, .org is the best way to get links to the Floodlights podcast, or the Something Inside Is Broken, or the Gift of Fear, or the amazing million things y'all have done. So, Carly, Kohler, California Kohler clan, I love you. I love you to pieces. Kiss that beautiful family of yours, and let me know when the next barbecue is, because I'm going to show up late and empty-handed.
Sounds great. We'll be waiting for you.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. High five and a hug. I'm going to call you after this and just talk to you for another hour.
Sounds great. Thank you so much for having me.
Anytime, all the time. All right. Take care, lady. So, Carly Kohler, Mark Williams, weird little hiccup of a day, right? But what incredible content. Mark Williams, I am not done with you yet, sir. I'm coming back for more. Carly Kohler, we could do a documentary about your family making documentaries. That would be, that's what we're gonna do. And so again, here you have a weekend coming up with a handful of different ways to engage culture, learn history. If you're from, California, Northern California native, here's a piece of your history. If you're one of them 5 civilized tribes who lives the Choctaw life out there in Oklahoma or Mississippi, you have ways to learn about and engage culture. So let's do a quick, let's still promo. These promos are important to me, you guys. I love the association. I'm honored to be here. And dag nabbit, be pumped with me.
The association is a 501c3 that does not take any federal funds. We are powered by the generosity of our members and donors. If programming like Red Hoop Talk matters to you, please consider donating or becoming a member today. Every contribution, no matter the size, helps us continue our mission. You can make a one-time gift or set up reoccurring contributions. We even accept stocks and cryptocurrency. An association membership is just $25 annually or $500 for a lifetime membership. Membership is open to anyone who supports our vision and goals. Donate or become a member today by visiting indian-affairs.org, and together we can make a difference for Native country.
Well, that is that. So, Miss Carly Kohler, you're dismissed. I love you. Again, thank you to the association for letting me do this month after month. Tune in next month. So what do we have going on? This is what I have on deck. So next month for August, I want Carly Harvey, who's the DC Queen of the Blues, but she's Afro-Indigenous, but she also carries a ton of historical knowledge on kind of the roots of our modern day music and music. We talk about being biracial babies. We talk about racism. We talk about women being in male-dominated industries. So I want her for August. And then we got Jessie Taken Alive Rencounter, who is children's author that I met years ago through Social Distance Powwow. I had her and her husband on, but she's on her 6th book. And even though they're children's book, I was in a live reading with her, and all I did was cry. Like, there's something so beautiful when you do a children's book. You have to distill it and simplify. I don't know. It's a beautiful thing. So those are the next 2 guests. We got Keith Secola, who's ready to rock and roll with us, but right now his summer tour schedule doesn't allow me to track him down for this live show. And then again, thank you, Miko Thomas, for being my number one, my number one. And I'm going to pretend I'm crying just so I can dab the sweat in my the little corner of my booth here. So big deal, big day. I appreciate y'all. And then give us a share, give us a like, follow us on your streaming platforms for the podcast, and set an alarm because this happens the 4th Thursday of every month. Well, Chi Hulole Yukoke, I love y'all so hard, and thanks for being part of Red Hoop Talk. And then I'm trying to think of a new catchphrase, because when I do Resilience Radio for 25 years, it has ended with "We gotta go," and then the song. So I'm trying to think until we hop back in the hoop, or y'all can help me with that, please. So I don't want to do anything until the next full moon, howl for me. But I love y'all so hard. I love being here. Until next month when we hop back into the hoop, I'm Jennifer Robin. This has been Red Hoop Talk.